just get on a podcast and you're just like, let's just do the goddamn podcast.
Let's just fucking do it. I'm sick of it. Let's just fucking do it, man.
Let's just do it. Yeah, I mean, all these people talking about, man, they got all these strategies. You know what I mean?
Yep.
All these people got these political strategies. It's funny to see like now people that I know that don't like care about politics that much or have not expressed that love for politics.
Yeah.
Now like claiming to be political strategists and shit.
Yep. Just change that Instagram bio real quick. Change your whole personality. You know, that's all you got to do.
And my thing is just like, yeah, bro, but like, that's not what Ho Chi Minh would have done.
Not at all. Not at all. He would have fucking crawled out into the mountains.
But it's some of the people on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter are like more pure communists than Mao, or like they claim to be more pure, but yet won't follow the Maoist principles. You know what I mean? As you can see on our episodes about Mao, follow the Maoist
principles. Listen, talk is cheap. All right,
cheap.
You gotta walk the walk if you want to inherit Mao's legacy.
You gotta do 15 years. I don't know if he did this many, but 15 years
15
or
years
more
minimum
of Confucius learning.
Yep.
And then see, it always comes back to Mao. It always comes back to now. Just all roads lead to Mao. And guys, welcome to Hard Fried History.
But it's crazy because it's like, I don't know if you listened to our episodes on Mao. Not a guy you want to emulate.
Not a guy you want to emulate. But the strategies. Come on, big dog.
The fucking philosophy bites are solid.
The philosophy bites are solid, and the fucking you know what I mean? Philosophy bites are solid. You know what I mean? And all you got, I learned. Come on. You want to fucking eliminate your political rivals? Make college kids kill them.
Yep. Ooh, they'll kill anybody. They are angry because they just took out a big loan that they will never pay off.
Or shame them in the streets. Okay, well, that's fun. Guys, again, welcome to Hard Fried History. Thank you for coming back.
Hello.
We appreciate you. And we got a good one lined up for you today. Henry, and this is the audience at home. You might not know what we're talking about. You might have seen the title. And I'll just start it off like this. Henry, what do you think is the school that's most responsible for the most deaths ever?
I want to say it was my old middle school.
Okay.
For serving too many poisonous sloppy joes.
Did that really happen? Or
no, I was just trying to.
You just trying to get the bits off. Okay.
Just trying to get the bits off. No.
Most schools most responsible for the most deaths gonna be Harvard or Yale, whichever one that most of the presidents went to. Or whatever school that Stalin went to, or whatever school that Mao, like college he went to. I don't know if Stalin went to college. He doesn't seem like a college-y type.
I could see Harvard because they had the whole like Skull and Bones Society, which is like where a lot of like CIA operatives were from, like the Skull and Bones. So I could see Harvard. That's
no, definitely. I can see Yale. So people just making like. You know what I mean? Or is Yale Skull and Bones? Yale Skull and Bones.
Yale Skull and Bones?
Yeah, you can see we didn't go to either of those schools because we don't know anything about them.
But we went to college locally.
I didn't go to college locally. So put that on yourself, big dog.
I did.
Never gonna go, never gonna be anything, never gonna go anywhere over there.
I know. I know.
So today we're gonna look at the School of the Americas, which is probably a little bit down the list from like Harvard and Yale or whatever school Mao went to. But a school responsible for a fair amount of murderers, killers, death, rapists, everything bad.
Drug traffickers.
Everything bad that's happened to the peasants or just people of Central, South, Caribbean, South America, all that shit. Anything south of the border. So, what do you know anything about the School of Americas, Henry?
I don't.
Other than the death,
I know a little bit about just from the Jakarta method and reading about Indonesia and just kind of how it spread to like Brazil and Chile and all that stuff.
Yeah, so that's that comes in. Yes, we're gonna get there. But first, they're gonna start at the origins. In 1946, the United States Army founded the Latin American Training Center Ground Division. Or we're gonna do a couple like Spanish because I got to show off the Spanish.
Yep.
The Spanish that I learned
Show it
in high
off, man.
school
Roll
and
those
college.
R's. All right, roll them.
The Centro de Entrenamiento Latinoamericano Division Terrestre. That I am butchering probably that all, but at Fort Armador, it's going to be at Fort Armador in the Panama Canal Zone, which is unincorporated. You know, like we used to own the Panama Canal. We used to own like all the land around it. So we had a school there, basically where we were training the militaries of South America, Latin America, the Caribbean after World War II, because World War II had just ended, and like colonial powers, like I think Germany had like a lot of colonial, like Germany was fucking around a lot in like Latin America and South America at the time. And then we like, once that was over, we kind of Monroe doctrined it up and was like, this is now our hemisphere after World War II. Again for like the
everybody else get the fuck out. That I think FDR was the one who made the announcement and like talked about hemispheric defense and all that stuff. And so he kind of set the precedent. But then I guess Truman adopted it and was like, all right, we're gonna up the stakes a little.
Yep. So the school was just like centralizing and like it was centralizing the administrative tasks of like, it was like training a lot of the Latin American, just Southern American. I'm gonna go Latin American for everybody.
Okay,
I'm not gonna do Southern American Latin. I'm not gonna do this shit.
Yeah.
So for all of the Latin American countries, it was centralizing like a lot of nation building training, a lot of army training, and it was really just an imperial school. Like it kind of reminds me of what like the Romans did, like as far as like just kind of loaning out the defense and like far reaches of the empire to other tribes to fight other tribes, basically.
Yeah, you just outsourcing your leadership. Like, why would I pay to have somebody to station somebody over there when I can just teach somebody how to do it themselves?
It also serves the purpose to create these like links between like American generals and American army brass and these kind of weird, desperate, like we're not weird and desperate, but Latin American countries. I'm saying weird. I'm talking to you, Argentina.
Weird and desperate sounds like me in high school. Huh?
Okay, all right. Hey. Get me out of there with the jokes.
How's it going?
Get me out of there with the jokes. Don't make me say how I actually feel about the Argentinians.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I call them Argentinians because they're teeny.
Teeny tiny.
I don't like Messi, and that's a personal. I don't like the soccer player. The whole thing.
Okay.
So the army like moved to another base and moved to this place called Fort Gulick, also in the Panama Canal Zone in February of 1949, and the name was changed to the Latin American Ground from the Latin American Ground School to the U.S. Army Caribbean School, and it's kind of putting it's kind of put like, it's just what you're gonna see a lot with this. It is just gonna keep going back and forth from like wherever the army starts to feel more like, wherever we have like a thing, a place we like a war or some type of place we want to be. This is just a way to train those people and then send them out back to their country with our ideals and with our machinations. You know what I'm saying? For them to fucking
get all felt up by Uncle Sam.
Yeah, they get a little felt up by Uncle Sam, and then we send you out to the world. So you put your problems out there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So you can feel up others like Uncle Sam, and it just all right. I don't want to carry this metaphor.
I feel like you're doing a thing.
Like I'm good. I'm good on this one.
So in like 1954, the school's peoples were like overwhelmingly from like Latin American country due to the increase due to a decrease in U.S. military personnel in the region and an increase of the utilization of the school by governments in Latin America. So it was good for like, you know what I mean, good for the Latin American countries to send their people to us, because it was like, that's how we're going to create these links. Then we get more funding and then they trust us more. You know what I mean? Like, and this is also
we can develop and get loans and all that, right?
Yeah, of course. And then all around this time, didn't the Guatemalan revolution happening with fucking
right in I think 52 or 51 is when what's his name? the guy we threw the coup, not Ubico. I think Ubico was put out of power.
This was the guy that Che was like, yo, you need to fucking
Arbenz.
You need to arm up right now.
Yeah. And then he engages in land reform in 1952, and which pisses off United Fruit. And then United Fruit, they've got their contacts with Eisenhower, like through the Dulles brothers. And there's this guy, Henry Cabot Lodge, who is like Eisenhower's UN ambassador. His family fortune is intertwined with that of United Fruit. And so they like hint, nudge, nudge, launch a coup against Arbenz. Arbenz doesn't want to arm up. He's out of power by 54.
Yeah. So again, it's always going to be shifting to where there are the pressures from, where American interests. In 1956, English was eliminated as an instructional language at the school, and like they wholly adopted Spanish as the official language. And most of the U.S. personnel trained at the school between like 1956 and 1964 were actually Puerto Rican. And again, at that time, I think in 54, you're going to have a lot of Puerto Rican revolts. There's a Puerto Rican like national independence movement going on.
Yeah. So, I don't know that much about Puerto Rico at this time period. I've been there, but I don't know anything.
Yeah, no, you profited off the fruits of colonized people because you're a bad person.
I rented out an Airbnb and probably drove property values up, and maybe some people lost their homes after after I left.
Like an asshole. You're the reason the hurricanes happened.
I'm sorry.
Moving on. Moving on. So in 1959, something significant happens, which is the revolution in Cuba. And that's when the U.S. military, adopts a policy of we're against the international communist conspiracy. And why they're against that, of course, they're capitalists. We're against the communists, but now it's happened within their hemisphere. And personally, as somebody who just like did a lot of research on Ho Chi Minh. You guys should listen to that episode, the Ho Chi Minh episode,
and our Fidel Castro episode,
Yeah. So the Ho Chi Minh episode makes me think there was really an international communist conspiracy because the communist intern was everywhere. But that's the whole thing. You can listen to those episodes, and learn about that. But so 59, Cuban Revolution happens, right? And from there, right, the JFK in 61 goes, hey. We're going to focus on also teaching anti-communist counterinsurgency training to the military personnel of Latin America. So this is kind of focused on mob control, special warfare, jungle warfare, intelligence and counterintelligence, civil affairs, public information, and the word communist was kind of like applied to everybody in this sense. And again, you can do anything to kind of become a communist.
Yeah.
In this time, like most people what I've read about most people who were communists at this time, not most people, but I put it this way: anything gets you called communist. Like, hey, we want to get paid more for our fruit that we're trying to give United Fruit Company. Communist.
Boom. Communist. You know I mean? We want a stronger union. We want a dental plan, for fuck's sake. Boom. Communist. We want to reform the land a little bit. We want a larger private plot. Boom. Communist.
At the comedy club, I want to get a salad. Communist.
A communist.
You know what I mean?
I want to fuck my neighbor's wife.
Communist. That's actually American.
Actually a little weird.
Very American. That's very American. I don't know what you got going on over there.
Nothing too weird. We're all right. But yeah, I'm glad that we're past labeling anybody on the left that we remotely disagree with as a communist. I'm glad we know better than to do that now.
That still happens all the time. So I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
You're doing
I've been doing a thing.
You're doing a bit. You gotta tell me you're doing bits. You gotta remember you put the single up.
Right. Okay.
So, and again, at this time, this is a Latin America that's full of like social kind of strife. Income inequality is great. There's a lot of poor people and a very few rich people. So a lot of these communist ideas, socialist ideas, kind of income inequality ideas, everything like these things are things that would help these people.
Fertile soil.
Yeah, no, this is fertile soil. So in 1963, the officials renamed the facility, still in the Panama Canal Zone. They renamed it the U.S. Army School of the Americas to better reflect like its Western Hemispheric orientation.
North America, South America.
Yeah,
we're fucking over here.
Caribbean. It's the Caribbean in North America.
I think so. I don't know. I think so.
I've always wondered because it's not.
It's not technically north or south. It just kind of hangs out.
It just kind of does hang out. It kind of does hang out.
Like, we're cool. We're islands, man. We're just over here chilling out. All right.
We're just islands. We're chilling. So they're like, so again, this is happening in the 60s. That happens in 63. Another thing happens that's very important to the school is that the Vietnam War happens. And people are getting trained at the school in like jungle warfare. They're like orientating to doing jungle warfare. And it's kind of a feedback loop that happens between the school in Vietnam to where like the CIA fucking like manuals that the CIA is using in fucking Laos and fucking all around, they kind of work their way to the school. And the SOA and like CIA manuals kind of became one and the same. And those manuals included things like torture. You know what I mean?
Cool.
Like execution.
Not cool. Not
dirty
good.
war methods.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
probably media operations as well.
Media operations. They included, because they basically were exporting what was happening in Vietnam now to these troops that they're training in Latin America to go back to their countries. And basically they're going to treat their countries like little fucking Vietnams.
Oh, what could go wrong?
You know what I mean?
Sounds good.
And I don't know if you know about Vietnam, but Vietnam wasn't exactly the nicest war.
No,
it wasn't the war of it.
Not a lot of vacationers going to Vietnam in the 1960s. Not a whole lot of that.
It wasn't the War of 1812. It wasn't like fucking fireworks were getting shot off. And
you weren't just like lined up as blocks of troops just walking towards each other and just be like, all right, we're gonna fire on 3, both sides. Ready? 1, 2. Hey, you fired too soon, man. What are you doing?
And
that's the last time.
You're,
right? You're off the squad.
You're a dick for firing too soon.
You have no honor. Yes.
Like, what's weird is you can even tell like how fucked up a war was just by like the music that's attached to it. Like War of 1812, like Rocket's Red Glare, and then the second verse is just about slavery. And then and then like World War II, a lot of swing, you know what I mean? A lot of Baby Come Home, it's snowing outside, shit like that. And then Vietnam is just like, I can't get no satisfaction with. I just think means I can't come. I can't come anymore because I'm having nightmares.
Because I'm having nightmares. Because I'm scarred by what I've seen, and I'm scarred by what is happening to my brothers. Because I'm a dirty draft dodging hippie. All right.
Yeah. I know
that haunts me.
Yeah, come on, man. Look, I know your grandpa draft dodged.
I mean, he was too old. He was an engineer. I'm pretty sure. I think.
Okay. Well,
I don't know actually.
Did anybody in your family fight in Vietnam?
I don't talk to my grandparents.
Okay, we're gonna move on. So the School of America is like has been questioned for years for like how it trained military personnel, and this is like they take that training, right? That training that they get, and then they export it to things like the dirty wars in the Southern Cone, in Argentina and in Chile, where they're just like disappearing people, and like the Desperacitos. And I think this guy, the Jakarta Method book, that
not to be confused with Despacito.
Despacito, which was a really weird time.
Despacito.
Which was was that not weird for you? That it was just like, this sounds a lot like we were kidnapping people in Argentina.
Despacito.
Which is not fun. Which is not a song I want to sing.
That's something you want a mamba to. No.
If you don't know Spanish, because you're a fucking noob. I'm joking. You don't know Spanish. Nope. You're not from Houston, but Desperacitos basically means disappeared. So,
at least Joe Biden didn't play that one, That'd be way worse.
That'd be
Despacito. Like, whoa, what are you doing, Joe Biden? Come on, man.
That feels like what's gonna happen. But all right, let's not get into politics.
All right.
So they're like, what happens in Chile and in Argentina, and these are all like U.S. methods, like that the CIA is like has practiced before. These these are in the SOA manual. A lot of the things that's in that manual you see practice elsewhere across Southern America, Latin America, all during this time.
When are we talking about?
We're talking about the 70s.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then again, this is when at the school that's teaching all this torture, the majority of the candidates were from like Chile, Colombia, Bolivia, Panama, Peru, and then once you get towards the 80s, then you start to get the Hondurans, the Nicaraguans, and
then you get into like it reorients a little bit.
And you get into all that shit that happens in Nicaragua and Honduras and El Salvador and Guatemala in the 80s, which honestly, okay, I'm just going to cop to like, it's a lot. It's a fucking lot. All that shit that happens, it particularly like, do you want to go into like the exact details?
Yeah, a little. Yeah. I know in like Chile is a really important case because you've got Salvador Allende, socialist, democratically elected in the 70s, and Nixon and Kissinger are immediately like, we cannot tolerate this, because we mentioned in a previous episode that their biggest fear is that socialists are going to win elections, not launch coups. So like, we have to depose this guy. I know in Chile there was this group called Patria y Libertad, which was like a far right fascist group that the US was collaborating with to like orchestrate the overthrow of Allende. And they like did the same shit that they did in Indonesia in like the early 1960s. They had media operations through this paper called El Mercurio.
Yeah.
And then, they're just writing all these puff pieces talking about how the left is unstable and Allende needs to be overthrown. And they go as just to draw the parallel between Indonesia and Chile, there's like a right-wing nationalist congressman who stands up in the middle of a congressional session and is like, we're going to be here until Plan Jakarta is implemented. Like he goes as far as to name the city and reference what happened there. Like, we're going to kill off the entire left.
Which they do. Which they end up.
Yeah, it's what ends up happening 3 years later. Yeah. And with U.S. support.
Yeah. So, and then you have, and this is kind of like a lot of what the School of the Americas is known for, is particularly also the stuff that happens in El Salvador in the 1980s. And that's going to be where they have the killing of Archbishop Romeo?
I think so. Yeah, Oscar Romero is like a human rights activist, and like prior to, I think it's 78 or the late 70s.
Yeah,
they one party rigged an election, and then all these protests erupt.
Yeah,
and then there's a violent crackdown against those protests after they rigged or stole this election.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a coup after the crackdown on the protesters, and then just all hell broke loose. And Romero was basically like, yo, we should investigate the election.
Yeah.
People are being killed. We need to put a stop to that. And then this guy, Diabison, I don't remember his first name. Diabison?
Let me see. I think I have it down here.
He kills Oscar Romero. And I have a quote Roberto Diabison, who's a graduate of the School of the America. He assassinates an archbishop who just wanted to investigate what was going on. So the mere suggestion of investigation was enough to get him killed. And Diabison has this quote. I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
I think it's really telling. He says it in 1983. He says, "You can be a communist and not know you are a communist." So the right knows better what the left is. That the left can't speak for itself. You need to listen to the right to let you to tell you accurately what the left is. We know a communist when we see one.
Because I think that kind of goes back to the training they received. Also, is that like they were trained in this ideal of like, you got like the technological superiority of the United States, and they were like trained that like anything that's not kind of going this way is going to be is going to be is wrong. Like, this is the way you're going to get power. This is the way your country is not going to be backwards anymore.
Yep.
And like all this stuff was like, they're kind of trained in the love of any of like capitalism, of particularly of an American way, and anything that was holding them up from that, probably the needs of the peasants, human rights of certain people, was bad and kind of needed to be stomped out.
Probably certain indigenous traditions,
tribes
that promoted some sort of collectivism.
Yeah.
They had to go.
Yeah.
If you can't kill the idea, you better kill everybody who has the idea, right? Why not?
Yeah. And so I just want to take the time right now and go through a couple of the kind of like standout people from the School of the Americas. We just kind of briefly, there's
notable alums.
There was a list of like, I think it's like it's 6 or 60,000 of the alumni, and on there were just like some of the worst dictators,
worst guys,
like people who perpetrated massacres, like everything. So let me just go through a couple of these guys. From Argentina, you got Jorge Rafael Videla, senior commander of the Argentinian army and dictator of Argentina from 1976 to 1981.
This is the dirty war guy in Argentina, to where it was like a top-down extermination. It was less a war and more just an extermination and purge of the left. I actually read that like when it came to, because they're killing like protesters, dissenters, and like union leaders. And I have a source that said Ford Motors and Citibank went as far as to collaborate with Videla in the killing of union leaders because it was bad for their business.
Yeah, no, this is kind of one thing I think I didn't touch on when they were being trained in all this stuff, and they've been trained in all like these kind of torture techniques and all this kind of crowd control and all this type of stuff, dirty war methods. In America, the Americans have this kind of high ideal about themselves, either wrong or right, that we're not supposed to do shit like this. And it's at least the shame of it that prevents a little of it from happening, a lot of it from happening. It's just the shame. But the Americans that kind of have this racist opinion of Latin Americans to be like, you're not Americans, you can do all this shit.
There's a tendency to view their lives as lesser or cheaper, and they're more replaceable, and therefore, and they don't have the American Constitution, so we can't do this shit here because we have a great Constitution. It's like, well, why can't we have a Constitution similar to that? It's like,
you can, but we're not going to obey it because we got to get rid of these dirty communists.
That would be bad for Ford Motors. Come on, man.
Ford, baby. Ford tough.
All about Ford tough.
The funny thing, whenever they had like Salvador and like trainees at the School of the Americas, when it moved to Georgia, they would like all just buy trucks and drive them back to Salvador.
It's truck month, baby.
Worth a lot of money, baby boy.
Truck month.
Ford tough.
Yep, that's
Chevy.
right.
Chevy. Okay. So naming more of the notables from the School of the Americas. From Bolivia, Hugo Bazir Suarez, who was a politician, general, and was the president of Bolivia from like 1971 to 1978, and as a dictator, and he was a constitutional president later in 1997 to 2001.
The comeback kid.
Yeah, man. Under his 7-year dictatorship, hundreds of Bolivians were murdered, deported, or tortured. Also, more than 4,000 were imprisoned or detained as political prisoners.
Okay.
We get down to Chile, and again, I'm skipping over a lot of names. We get down to Chile, Emmanuel Contreras, Chilean army officer and former head of the National Defense. My PC battery is about to run low. Give me 1 second.
Okay. See, this is that exciting bonus content that you just don't get when you listen to it.
I'm gonna cut
on
this,
Spotify.
Man.
You're gonna cut it. Not out of the YouTube video. You can't, can
you? I can. I could have done it, but now I kind of just let it rock. Let me see if
that hot content, man. That hot bonus content.
I'm charging right now. All right, fuck it. Let's keep going. So let me 1, 2. Fuck it. Who cares? So Chile, Manuel Contreras, former head of the Manuel Contreras from Chile, army officer, and he was head of the Chileans secret police under Pinochet.
Good guy.
Yeah,
good guy.
Awful guy.
Just touching on Contreras again.
Yeah.
He's another like super important guy when it comes to Operation Condor.
Yeah.
Which was like launched in November of 1975. Contreras, he got delegates from Argentina, Bolivia, fucking Brazil, Paraguay, and Uruguay, and they all kind of engaged in like a mutual defense agreement that it's not enough to crack down on communists in our own country. We've got to help each other out and be extra vigilant because the borders are a little looser here, you know?
I think it's also like a little bit of racism. Be like, they can just blend in anywhere because they're indigenous and they're fucking
we got to crack down on them across state lines. We got to work together. And so that's called Operation Condor. It is named for Chile's national bird, but he was a graduate from like you're talking about.
So all from the School of Americas.
He's from there, and this is what it became.
I'm gonna skip a couple of these names again because like
there's a lot.
If we went through and like named what they did, we'd just be sitting here for an hour talking about murder, an hour plus.
You guys would be real sad. Yep.
So we're gonna get down to Colombia. Picking out the special ones. Captain Gilberto Ibarra. He forced peasant children to lead his patrol through a minefield. Two children were killed and one was wounded. Just the special guys.
That's I'm gonna say, I mean, 2 is still too many, but like that's it. I only lost 2 kids.
Okay. Well, let's not.
Must not have been that many mines.
We're not gonna do that. Okay.
You shouldn't have done it at all. But I'm kind of surprised that more didn't die. That's what I'm trying to say. That's nuts.
Okay.
Insane.
You telling me I need more? You need more from the Colombians? I can go through.
I need more deaths from the Colombians.
We'll get to more deaths from the Colombians later.
Okay.
All right. So we already talked about Roberto de Bucion. Talk about Dominique from El Salvador, Domingo Monterosa, Salvadoran colonel and leader of the Atacato battalion, who were the people who led the El Mozote massacre in El Salvador in 1981. And just for understanding of how brutal that got, that was where the soldiers basically they took over this village, El Mozote, and then they reassembled the entire village in the square and separated the men from the women and the children and locked the groups in separate in the church, a covenant, in various houses. And then during the morning, they proceeded to interrogate, torture, and execute the men in several locations. Around noon, they began taking the women and older girls in groups, separating them from their children, murdering them with machine guns after raping them. Girls as young as 10 were raped. Soldiers were reportedly heard bragging how they especially liked 12-year-old girls. And then finally, they killed the children by first slitting their throats and then later hanging them from trees. One child killed in this manner was reportedly only 2 years old. After killing the entire population, the soldiers set fire to the buildings, and then they left. And then they left. They remained in El Mozote that night, and then they went to another village and carried out another massacre. So
there's
just fun guys,
fucked up shit,
just fun guys that we're training and we're giving our tax dollars to. And
you always hear about your tax. I don't want my tax dollars going to fund illicit schools down in South America to teach people to be mass murderers. Right. Where's that complaint? I never hear that one.
That complaint, we're going to get to that complaint a little bit later.
Okay. And about El Mozote, 1, super fucked up. Yeah. 2, there's this guy, word spreads to the U.S. and we hear about this and we're like, hey, this is pretty fucked up. Somebody should look into this. And Reagan appoints this guy, Elliot Abrams, as Assistant Secretary for Human Rights and Humanitarian Affairs.
Is that guy?
And his basic job is to defend all these assholes and all these death squads. And he goes as far as to say, like, any publication that covers this story or covers the death squads down in South America, that's all communist propaganda, man.
Jesus.
That's all fake news. Not actually. They're just stirring the pot, man.
That guy popped up. He was trying, Trump nominated him for something.
Really?
Yeah, like a couple years ago.
That does not surprise me at all. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
He got
But
nominated
the
for
New York
something.
Times went as far as he like NYT, they published something about El Mozote. And he's like, yeah, that's also, so it's not even just South American journals that are publishing about this and be like, hey, this is fucked up and it's happening right now. It's our own shit. He's basically trying to like, not like a soft censor of the press, like the chilling effect, if you want to think of it like that.
He looks like an insane person.
Let me
see.
He
actually looks like a fucking if you guys want to look up Elliot Abrams.
Oh man, those eyebrows.
Yeah, those eyebrows are just death. Yeah.
They're just like he's gonna take flight off of those eyebrows, you know, they're just gonna sprout into devil wings and he's gonna fucking fly off into the
He was nominated by Mike Pompeo to be the special representative for Venezuela. So can't be okay. All right, we gotta keep going through these goddamn lists of these.
All murders. Right, let's get some more, man.
Yeah. No, just kind of keep running through this. Guatemala, you got Colonel Julio Roberto Alvarez, the CIA asset. He oversaw the murder of American citizen Michael Devine and Guatemalan citizen Efrain Bernmarca. I'm having problem seeing that. And then literally months after completing like a course for senior officers at the School of America, School of the Americas.
He went back for his graduate degree in mass murder, I guess.
Exactly. We can go back to Haiti. We can go to Haiti. Frank Romain, who's the former leader of the Tonton Macoute, responsible for the St. John Bosco massacre. Tonton Macoute, Haiti has its own thing that we have not even touched upon. Okay. You go to Honduras, General Luis Alonso de Scua Elvire, commanding officer of the Battalion 316 Death Squad.
Wait, Tonton Macoute in Haiti, that's also a death squad?
Yes, they're the military. They're the Gestapo for Gestapo and police. So like if it's a Gestapo just on the street, it was just with machetes. With weapons, with fucking guns and machetes. The Tonton Macoute is interesting, and we should touch on them later. Okay. Both of the co-founders of the Zetas cartel from Mexico, also School of the Americas trainees. And most famously, last but not least, that we're going to touch, there's plenty more. We're going to have Manuel Noriega selling that cocaine. Also, member alumni of School of Americas. So, like, if you had a school this bad, you would shut this bitch down.
You would shut anywhere else down. Yeah.
Anywhere else. So they start getting like all this
being criticized.
They started being criticized, and you know, they institute like a human rights instruction at the as part of their course. And they start bringing people in, and it's like
I just get I'm sorry, I get an image of like the TV being wheeled in, you know, the TV on that black 3-tiered stand. Like, all right, today's lessons was supposed to be about how to effectively disappear a dissident, but instead the higher ups are making you guys watch this bullshit.
Yeah.
And, like, pulls out a VHS and puts it in, and then exactly. Hi, I'm Deborah Logan, and I'm here to tell you today not to form a death squad. I'm here to tell you how to be here to teach you how to be ethical. You know, and this is my buddy, peace sign Pete, and it's just a dude dressed in a peace sign. You know, I don't know.
There's a moment in the book that I read by Leslie Gill called "The School of the Americas." You guys can see it on YouTube, where basically they're doing an instructional, like a kind of an instructional thing about the My Lai massacre, and they're teaching them about what happened with My Lai in Vietnam, where American troops slaughtered and raped over, I think, like a day, like fucking basically a village.
All right.
And they're teaching them about that, and at the end, like they the lady Leslie Gill, the author, makes the point. She goes like, yeah, they taught about it, and they kind of applauded like how like certain soldiers like wouldn't do anything, that like some people wouldn't, like they just wouldn't fucking do anything. And then there was like a clap at the end about how like how basically about how the army instructor had said that this was wrong. and they clapped about like how what should have happened and all this type of stuff, and nothing. And they neglected to mention that like this massacre happened and nothing really happened to anybody who purported the Malay massacre. And it was a weird like confluence of events where like one of the guys who perpetrated the Malay massacre actually lives on the other side of Columbus, Georgia, near Fort Benning, and sells like rings to like the graduates of the paratrooper school at Fort Benning. Like one of the lieutenants who was involved in personally like murdering people and was in charge of killing people in Vietnam. And it kind of proves to show like, hey, like nobody gets in trouble for this shit ever. No. Nobody gets in trouble for these massacres.
Where's the UN on this one?
There's no.
Where's the UN? It's almost like somebody's telling the UN not to investigate this shit.
The guy did like 2 weeks in jail or some shit.
Oh,
like
2 weeks.
Like, and then like and then like yeah. So again, School of the Americas, after all of these things, all those massacres,
and many more that we just didn't have time.
We didn't have time to go over. They started getting criticized, and then from getting criticized, then there's like kind of a protest movement that kind of develops around them, and the protest movement kind of centers around like liberation theology, and kind of it's called the School of the Americas Watch. It's an advocacy organization founded by Maryknoll father Roy Burgess, and a small number of supporters in 1990 to protest the training of the School of the Americas. And it's liberation theology is kind of what like prompted them to do this, which is like the Christian theology of like that the American government shouldn't basically do bad fucking things.
No, yeah. Yeah.
You can have your internal government pressure that's going to come from Representative Joseph P. Kennedy the second, who he was trying to get stuff passed in Congress. He was pushing to like get bills to take away the funding of the School of the Americas. And in 1999, the House of Representatives voted 230 to 197 to reduce the funding of the school by $2 million. And then the House and Senate committee voted 8-7 to overturn the vote in the weeks that followed. So I know you're thinking 1999, that's out of the Cold War. Like Cold War ends like 8 years ago. Yeah, no,
we were done with the Cold War in 91. Done. We're done. We're done. On to something else.
Yeah, on to something else. So what happens is they catch all this heat and all this bullshit. People are protesting them outside the gates of it's not bullshit. It's real shit. Yeah. They catch all this heat, and then what they do is they just change their name from the School of the Americas, because that's a dirty name now. They change their name to WINSEC.
It's got win in it, so you know it's good.
And I fucking and I did not write down what WINSEC means, because I just want you to get the military.
The Western Hemisphere Institute for Security.
So like just a blase misnomer name.
That could be anything. Yeah.
It could be anything. So since they changed the name, WINSEC is trained in 2001. Since they changed the name, it's trained more than like 19,000 troops from 36 countries in the Western Hemisphere.
Is this when they move it to Columbus?
Yeah. So again, sorry. They moved it to Columbus in 1984 after they got expelled from Panama because of the Panama Canal Treaty. I
don't want this shit here anymore, man. No, you gotta train your goons somewhere else, all right?
Well, Panama finally gets its part of its country back. Well, I mean, we developed the Panama Canal, right?
Yeah.
But then Panama is like, we kind of there's a treaty. It's kind of like what happened with the Hong Kong. Like eventually, it goes back to like kind of who it's around. So, there are numerous countries that like don't send their people to WINSEC. Like, of course, Venezuela, because we're on rocky terms with Venezuela. Yeah. Argentina doesn't send its people to WINSEC anymore because it has a bad name. Because everybody who went to the School of the Americas, like fucking, they were those are the people who disappeared my dad. Like, so like,
fuck those guys.
Uruguay, never. I don't think it ever sent people to WinSec, but it said we don't send people to WinSec.
Uruguay was involved in Operation Condor, though.
Oh,
they were part of
was?
that. Yeah.
Okay.
So they
Maybe
still
they
got,
did have people.
They still got dirty hands. I don't know if they sent them to the school, but they were at least part of that like mutual defense thing.
So
agreement.
So kind of moving forward here, WinSec still exists. Yeah. This is like still a thing that is current today, 2020
on American soil.
Boom, American soil. And I think we touched earlier talking about the notable names, the Los Zetas cartel. That shit's from the 2000s, baby boy. And then so what happens with the School of the Americas? It's not that it dies. It's not, and this is something that kind of want to string together from the Cold War. The remnants of the Cold War don't really end. The Cold War just kind of transforms into something else. Yeah. You know what I mean? So instead of like the Cold War is over, we don't have to have influence on all these places. No, we just have influence, but now we find a new enemy, and now it's about fighting the drug war.
Yeah.
So the kind of focus of the School of America kind of shifts after the 80s in El Salvador and Nicaragua and Honduras, and it shifts. Now it's on the drug war, and it's on in a couple places, particularly Chaparral in Bolivia. It's going to be on coca farmers. And coca is the U.S. government was pressuring like the government of Bolivia to crack down on coca cultivation, which is not cocaine, but like the actual just like plant. Yeah, that's just like a stimulant.
I think it's a leaf.
Yeah, it's a leaf, like, but it's like used for like it's usually put in your tea. It's just a stimulant. It's like just a thing that like people use for like indigenous rituals.
Yeah,
it's a natural thing that they use. So, but the U.S. government is paying like, hey, get rid of this. Yeah. Get rid of this. Not attacking the actual drug dealers, the actual kind of narco traficantes. Yeah, you know what I mean, well, they are, but they're taking out all their operations that they're aligned with the Bolivian like military on in this area is just on coca farmers who are just like peasants and indigenous people. And from this, you have like from this kind of struggle between like the Bolivian like military would come in and they just burn fields and they beat up farmers. And this was going on in the 80s, I'm pretty sure, late 80s, I'm pretty sure. Early 80s. So this is going on in the early 80s. And out of this struggle, you get Evo Morales, who is an organizer of the sindicatos, which is like the collections of coca farmers. And Evo Morales kind of gets his bona fides kind of working and protesting with these coca farmers and this coca struggle, and then kind of moves up through the ranks and becomes the president of Bolivia, and was just ousted in 2020 under very suspicious stuff. Very suspicious stuff. We don't have time to get into that. But if you want to spend a hour just learning about how people can just say elections seem suspicious when they really aren't suspicious and completely invalidate election.
Muddy the waters and steal one, maybe.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Who knows what happens? And then from there, you also going from Bolivia, you're going to go to Colombia, and you go to southern Colombia, specifically Putumayo. You're going to have the kind of the Plan Colombia, which is where the U.S., Clinton, and the Bush presidencies kind of sent like $2.8 billion to Colombia for the Colombian military to kind of wage a war against the FARC, and particularly against the FARC and coca cultivators. And this is where you get a lot of this is a very interesting struggle, particularly because like the Colombian military will like deny up and down that has nothing to do with paramilitaries, but then specifically operate with paramilitaries, because paramilitaries in Colombia are literally just like a combination of like the army, traffickers, and fucking like just random people who they hire from cities. And they were going up against the FARC, which are just communists, in South Colombia. And it's weird because you're going after the coca producers, or the places where cocaine, like the coca leaves are made, right? And there's a lot of production going on. Like the labs are there also, and we supposedly like kind of not won the war on drugs, but we did this big plan Colombia where we fucking put all this money into South Colombia to get rid of all this stuff.
So we train these dudes at Winsec to go and fight these traffickers.
We trained the army, and the army kind of the army allies with this like group called the UAC, which is a collection of like paramilitaries, and then those paramilitaries, they go out and they kind of commit massacres and do fucked up shit with the army.
I see.
Yeah.
All right.
And then the UAC, they go in, and then the thing that's going on is like the FARC. The thing that was going on was the FARC was like basically taxing the coca producers, but then also taxing the people producing cocaine. And then the UAC comes in, and then they come in and they basically take over from the FARC. Like they come in, they're not stopping anything. They're just coming in to be the new taxers of the cocaine producers.
All right. Yeah.
And the new taxers, and like kind of destroy coca leaves. People are producing coca leaves who are fucking with FARC, fucking with the FARC guerrillas. Which FARC is my favorite. That's my favorite word because it just sounds like fart.
It's pretty good. FARC.
You know what I mean?
FARC.
So there's kind of that struggle going on, but then like there's no notable like Colombian cartel right now. There's no massive cartel that's doing all the cocaine trafficking. So, but in the recent years pre-COVID, Colombia is producing the most cocaine it's ever produced.
I think they knew.
And then we sunk $2.8 billion into a region and caused a lot of massive bloodshed. So this is just stuff flowing down from our involvement in Latin America and Southern America. Oh, and particularly about Colombia, the guy that led the Plan Colombia, which we sunk all that money into. His name is Alvaro Uribe. He was a Colombian politician, and he was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom by George Bush. And
right on.
And this year, in August of 2020, he was arrested while they're investigating. Well, he's on house arrest while they're investigating him for bribery and witness tampering, as well as crimes against humanity for allegedly being involved in massacres that were proliferated by that UAC paramilitary group while he was a governor of one of those Southern Colombian states.
I mean, maybe he didn't know.
Maybe he didn't.
He knew. Let's be right. He definitely knew what was going on.
It just seems like it seems like our imperial power is always being used for bad down there. We're always, or we just really want the bad to happen.
We're indifferent to the bad. Yeah, I watched a fucking thing on Dirty Money about Peruvian gold smuggling for the cartel and everything, and like illegal mining, and how there's so much gold in Peru, but Peru is still super impoverished, and it's due primarily to like drug smugglers needing specie. That way they can transport their cash across state lines and all this shit.
Well, it's also, they also say like most of these Chaparral and like the Putumayo things, like they both say like they wanted to like in the Bolivian case, this is not really about the coca. This is more about the government wanting to privatize land. And a lot of this land was like communal, and it was just if you worked it, you worked it. Yeah. So that's why they're saying they're trying to get rid of them, and they're trying to all classify them as coca dealers and coca traficantes.
Collective land sharing. Yeah. That also sounds a little communist.
It sounds communist. I mean?
Yeah. There's a little vestige.
No, there's that Chaparral region is like heavily socialist. And then the FARC kind of Putumayo thing, they're also a lot of those battles and struggles and massacres seem to always happen around areas where industrial projects are happening, where the land is contested, and where somebody else can own the land and come in and take the more profitable land.
Yeah.
So,
hey, we know this has been your tribal lands for about 1,000 years, but there's some billionaire from Manhattan that wants to build a hotel over here.
I want to put a McDonald's here.
I want to put a big fat McDonald's.
I want to put a McDonald's here.
The largest McDonald's the world has ever seen.
I want to put a fucking McDonald's here.
I want to hear, man.
It's going to be called McDonald's because it's Colombian.
McDonaldos.
Wow. I hate that you came up with that before me. Well, all right, guys. I know you're like, hey, how are you going to end this on a positive note? We're not going to end it on a positive note because this is still going on. There's still part of our tampering with Southern American policies and creating massive pain in South America.
And I'm pretty sure your tax dollars are paying for.
We specialize in that, big dog.
Yep.
So, this kind of concludes, I think, our podcast about the School of the Americas. There's no happy ending, big dog.
No happy ending.
Sometimes there's no happy ending. Sometimes the Cold War things that started in the Cold War just have keep going.
Maybe they want you to. Maybe they want you to think it's ended, man.
Yeah.
They can move on to the next big thing right underneath your nose, man.
Yeah. It's funny how they went from like the FARC went from they were like communists during the Cold War, and then they became like narco guerrillas.
Yeah.
And then the dude that Uribe dude got the Presidential Medal of Freedom from George Bush for not fighting narco guerrillas, but for fighting terrorists.
It's all about them. It's all about them Terrys, man.
Yeah.
So just take out them Terrys.
Just a long line of things.
We always need an enemy.
Yeah. Or we're just out to fuck the peasant people and indigenous people of this world.
Fuck them up. Yeah. Who knows?
I mean, not me, you though. But all right. That's been our podcast on the School of America, guys.
Yep.
America, School of the Americas. I can't speak anymore.
Next week.
Sad day. Next week, what are we doing?
Next week, we're gonna wrap up the Cold War.
You're gonna just shoot the shit.
Concluding remarks. What we learned. It'll be good, I think.
Do you think it'll be good?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
I believe in myself, man.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for listening. It was a sad one.
Mm-hmm.
This one didn't really get happy at the end. It didn't really get happy. A lot of people just dying. A lot of cocoa farmers just getting killed. But all right, just go out there and do some cocaine for them, guys.
There you go. That's all you can do. You won't get COVID. You won't get COVID.
That is not true. All right, guys. That's because we're gonna get flagged on YouTube. All right, guys. We'll see you next time. Wait. What's our social media, Henry?
You can find us at Hard Fried History on Instagram, Hard Fried History on Facebook, HFH Podcast on Twitter, just Hard Fried History at Gmail, just Hard Fried History on YouTube. I'm Henry E. Price on Instagram, Henry Price on Facebook. Josh, what you got?
Joshua B. Stokes, Instagram and Twitter, and Josh Stokes on Facebook. It's been a lot. And we'll see you next time, guys.
That's right.
It's been a lot. There's been a lot going on.
Yeah.
RBG.
For sure.
Should have got off the court years early. All right, I don't want to get into this. All right. All right, let's talk. All right, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.